The first time I saw his badge, I wanted to spit on it. The first time he touched me, I wanted to fall apart in his arms. It is a cruel joke, isn't it? Fate, destiny, whatever word you want to slap onto the invisible strings that choke you until you give in. I never asked to be an omega. I never asked for the scent that makes alphas turn their heads. The vulnerability carved into my biology like a curse. And I sure as hell never asked for him, the cop who would one day be ordered to betray me. His name was Ethan Cole. Officer Ethan Cole. Alpha. 6 feet of rigid discipline wrapped in a uniform that screamed law and order. And me? I was the chaos he was meant to drag in, handcuff, and toss to the wolves of the justice system. But instead, he became my shield. It began in the kind of city where dreams suffocate in neon and smoke. New York was merciless, especially for someone like me, a runaway omega with no pack, no safety net, and a body that turned against me at the worst times. When your biology is a bargaining chip, the streets become a hunting ground. I learned to survive by moving fast, staying invisible, never trusting anyone. But the night I met Ethan, I wasn't invisible. It was raining, not the soft, romantic drizzle from the movies, but the kind that feels like knives stabbing your skin, turning alleys into rivers and your lungs into ice. I had stolen a loaf of bread from a corner store because I hadn't eaten in 2 days. My body was trembling, not just from hunger but from something worse. My heat was approaching, and every alpha in the radius of my scent would know it. That's when I heard the siren. The red and blue lights washed over the wet brick walls, and I froze. A cop, of course. The one thing you can't outrun in this city. Stop! A deep voice shouted, sharp and commanding. I bolted anyway. My legs screamed, my chest burned, but I didn't stop. If they caught me, it wouldn't just be about the bread. An unclaimed omega in heat, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. I knew exactly what the system would do. They'd lock me away, shove suppressants down my throat, maybe worse. But Ethan was faster. Alphas always are. His hand closed around my wrist like a steel trap, spinning me around until my back slammed against the cold brick wall. His breath came out in hot puffs against the rain as his eyes locked on mine. And that was the moment everything changed. His eyes weren't cruel. They weren't cold like I expected from a cop. They were conflicted, a storm brewing under control. His grip was firm, but it wasn't brutal. For one insane moment, I thought's not going to hurt me. Why are you running? He demanded, voice low, almost growling, though I swore I heard something else under it, concern. Let me go, I hissed, twisting desperate. You don't understand. But he did. Oh, he did. His nostrils flared, and I saw it click in his expression. My scent, my heat. His alpha instincts recognized it instantly, and for a split second his mask slipped. His jaw tightened, his pupils widened. The predator in him surged forward, then retreated, caged by sheer willpower. Damn it! He muttered under his breath, as if fighting himself. Then louder. You can't be out here like this. Do you want to get killed? The words cut deeper than his grip ever could. I had heard variations of that phrase all my life, spat with pity or disgust. But when he said it, it wasn't condemnation. It was fear. Fear for me. That night should have ended with my wrists in cuffs. Instead, Ethan dragged me into the back seat of his patrol car, no to arrest me, but to keep me safe. I fought him every step of the way, snarling, accusing, demanding he let me go. But my body was betraying me, trembling under the pull of his presence, the unwanted comfort of his alpha aura. I hated it. I hated him. I hated myself for the way my heartbeat slowed when he was near, the way I felt safer in his custody than I ever had on my own. Yet, beneath the hatred, something else was brewing. Something I refused to name. The days after were a blur. Ethan found excuses to keep me close without officially putting me into the system. He claimed paperwork delays, bureaucratic holdups, anything to buy me time. He smuggled me food, gave me a blanket, and when the worst of my heat crashed down, he looked away with fists clenched so hard I thought he'd break his bones. He didn't touch me. Not once. And that restraint was the cruelest, kindest betrayal of all. Because the truth I didn't want to face was this. I wanted him to. But every kindness he gave me came with the shadow of his badge. The law said I was property, a liability, a body to be regulated. And he wore that law across his chest every damn day. No matter how gentle his hands were, no matter how his eyes softened when he thought I wasn't looking, I knew one day he would have to choose between me and the oath he swore. And fate, merciless fate, would make sure that choice destroyed us both. One night, I woke to find him sitting across the room, head in his hands. The light from the desk lamp carved deep shadows into his face, highlighting the war inside him. "You should hate me," he said suddenly, voice breaking the silence. I almost laughed. "Should? Try do." His eyes met mine then, burning with a pain that made my chest ache. "They ordered me to report you. Do you understand? If I don't, I lose everything. My badge, my career, my pack. And if you do," I snapped, my throat tight. "What do I lose, huh? Just my freedom? My dignity? My life?" The silence that followed was unbearable. He didn't answer because we both knew the truth. He would betray me. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. And yet, he hadn't. Not yet. Something was stopping him. Something stronger than duty. It should have scared me. But instead, it gave me hope. Hope I was sure would ruin me. The knock on the door wasn't a knock at a lit, was a battering ram. The crash echoed through the walls, followed by shouting voices, boots pounding up the stairwell. I knew instantly what it meant. "They found me," I whispered, my chest caving in. Ethan's face went pale. His hand reached for me automatically, as if instinct alone could shield me from what was coming. "Stay behind me." It was a ridiculous order, but I obeyed. Because in that moment, even as the walls shook, I believed in him. Believed in the alpha who was supposed to betray me but hadn't. Believed in the man who looked at me as more than a case file, more than an omega with a scent that spelled trouble. The door burst open. 3 officers stormed in, weapons drawn, their eyes sharp and hungry the moment they smelled me. The lead officer, Captain Harris, sneered. "There's our little stray." I flinched, instinct screaming at me to curl up and disappear. But Ethan moved forward, a wall of muscle and fury. "He's under my custody," Ethan growled. "Custody?" Harris spat the word like poison. "You were ordered to turn him in weeks ago. Do you think your badge gives you the right to disobey?" My heart twisted. Weeks. He had been stalling for weeks. Every second he risked everything for me. "Get out," Ethan said, his voice dropping into something primal. Alpha to alpha. A command more instinct than language. The room went silent, tension stretching like a wire ready to snap. Harris smirked. "I see what this is. The great officer coal-falling for an omega criminal. Pathetic." "Don't," Ethan snapped, fists clenched. "Don't you dare call him that." The officers raised their weapons. My body shook. I could smell the aggression in the air, thick and suffocating. Ethan spread his arms, putting himself between me and the guns. "Over my dead body," he said. For a moment, I believed it would come to that. The fight was chaos. Ethan lunged, disarming one officer before he could fire. The room filled with shouting, fists, the crash of furniture breaking. I stumbled back, useless, terrified, until a hand grabbed Maharis. His grip was iron around my arm, dragging me toward the door. "Let me go," I screamed, twisting. "Ethan." Ethan's head snapped toward me, his eyes blazing. He slammed his elbow into another officer's face and charged, tackling Harris before he could drag me out. The 2 alphas hit the floor hard, a brutal clash of snarls and fists. For the first time in my life, someone was fighting for Menet because they wanted to claim me, not because they wanted to own me, but because they wanted me safe. And in that moment, I knew. I couldn't let him lose everything for me. The aftermath was a blur. Ethan managed to subdue Harris, but not without cost. His face was bloodied, his knuckles split, his uniform torn. The other officers fled, swearing they'd be back with reinforcements. He turned to me, panting, desperate. We have to run. Run. The word echoed in my bones. I had spent my whole life running, but never with someone beside me. Never with someone who looked at me the way Ethan did. Where? I whispered. Anywhere but here, he said. His hand reached out, trembling, waiting for mine. As long as it's with you. I should have been afraid. Instead, I took his hand. The days that followed were stolen fragments of a life that wasn't ours to have. Motels with flickering neon signs. Cheap coffee that tasted like freedom. Nights lying side by side on creaky mattresses. His hand hovering inches from mine. Never crossing the line but never pulling away either. And every time I caught his gaze lingering on me, every time his alpha aura wrapped around me like a shield, I wondered how long we could last before the world closed in. Because the truth was simple. Fate had forced him to betray me. But he hadn't. Not yet. And maybe not ever. It happened during a storm. Rain hammered the motel windows, lightning slicing through the sky. I woke to find Ethan sitting at the edge of the bed, shoulders tense, staring at the gun on the nightstand. Ethan, I whispered. He didn't look at me. They won't stop. They'll hunt us until one of us is gone. Fear coiled in my stomach. Then let's keep running. His voice cracked. I can't keep you safe forever. I crawled closer, my hand brushing his. You already have. He turned then, his eyes raw, stripped bare. You don't understand. Being with Might ruins you. You'll never have a normal life. You'll always be looking over your shoulder. I laughed softly, bitterly. Normal? You think I ever had that? You're the only thing that's ever felt real. For a heartbeat, we just stared at each other. The weight of everything pressing down. And then, finally, his restraint broke. He kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate, hungry, like he had been holding his breath for weeks and finally let it out. I melted against him, every wall I'd built crashing down. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me close, and for the first time I wasn't running, I was home. We didn't get forever. Fate never gives people like us forever. They found us 2 weeks later. A raid, this time with no warning. Dozens of officers, guns, flashing lights. We barely had time to grab our shoes before the room was surrounded. Ethan looked at me, eyes steady even as the world collapsed outside. Listen to me. No matter what happens, I don't regret this. Not a second. Tears blurred my vision. Don't say goodbye. I'm not. His thumb brushed my cheek, tender even in chaos. I'm saying I love you. The door exploded inward. Shouts. Hands dragging us apart. Cold steel cuffs biting into my wrists. Ethan fought, but there were too many. I screamed his name until my throat tore. And then darkness. I woke in a holding cell. Alone. Days blurred into weeks. Interrogations, suppressants, the cold sterility of the system crushing me down. I asked about Ethan, but no one answered. I thought I'd lost him. I thought the last thing I'd ever have of him was that kiss. That whispered confession. Then one morning, the cell door opened. And there he was. Ethan. Out of uniform. Bruised but alive. His eyes met mine. And for a moment, I thought I was dreaming. They can't keep us apart anymore, he said softly. I made a deal. I walked away from everything, the badge, the career, the pack. All of it. I'm done betraying what matters. I stumbled forward, my knees weak. Ethan. He caught me in his arms, holding me like I was the only thing keeping him standing. I don't know what our future looks like, he whispered. But I know I want it with you. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. Believed that maybe fate wasn't about the chains it wrapped around us, but about the ones we chose to break together. The last time I ran, I didn't run alone. Ethan's hand was in mine, strong and steady. And though the world was still dangerous, still waiting to swallow us whole, I wasn't afraid anymore. Because love, real, reckless, human love, was worth every risk. And when I looked at him, the man who was supposed to betray me but chose to protect me instead, I knew one thing for certain. This was destiny too. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.